Are you trying to eat healthier, maybe even follow the Mediterranean diet, but you feel totally lost every time you step into a grocery store? Well, if so, this video is going to clear all of that up for you. I'm Dr. Anna, your med diet doc. I'm a medical doctor and was trained in Italy, where I studied and lived for several years immersed in the heart of the Mediterranean. And while most people teach this diet as just a list of foods, eat this, not that, well, I teach it as a way to really build balanced meals that work for your body long term. Because health transformation is unfortunately not going to come just from simple food swaps. Instead, it's going to come from how you put your meals together, how you put all of those foods together on your plate, in your day, in your routine for the long term. So that really starts with what goes into your shopping cart. Now, before we dive into all the little tips and tricks I have for you, I made this as easy as possible for you. I created a free grocery shopping guide that just breaks down all the information you need to know before you step foot in the grocery store. It follows the same framework I use to teach real people how to eat the Mediterranean way in their real life, using what I call the 4 grocery zones, which we're going to go over in this video. You can grab your free copy linked below this video in the description. So let's talk about the 4 grocery zones. I'll walk you through them. And again, these are the areas that I want you to think about when you go grocery shopping intentionally. Each one comes from how you build Mediterranean style meals that are going to nourish your body and support your health goals. So what I call zone 1 is the produce section. For most of us, when we walk in a grocery store, this is going to be right in the front of the store. This is absolutely the foundation of Mediterranean eating. Lots of produce, fresh fruits, and vegetables. Every meal should include at least one vegetable or fruit, more if you can, and you want to go for variety of color. The more, the merrier. This can be from any variety of produce that you like. Leafy greens, cooking vegetables in the cruciferous family. It could be broccoli. It could be cauliflower. It could be cabbages. You could have other kinds of vegetables, peppers, onions, zucchini, eggplant. Tons of different options when it comes to fruit. Any variety of berry, apples, plums, peaches, nectarines, citrus fruits. And then don't forget about your herbs that especially are so full of flavor and antioxidants, beneficial properties for our health. Things like parsley, cilantro, mint, basil. You have rosemary, thyme, oregano. Literally, the list goes on and on. Now, these foods in general, all these plant foods together are going to be very good sources of vitamins and minerals. They're going to give our body a lot of antioxidants. And they're a very rich source of fiber for our body, which is that bulky component of plant foods that helps support our digestion, eases it along, and it also helps us balance our blood sugar and our energy and our long-term health. So you can tell this is a good thing to include for your metabolic health. Now, what is zone 2? Zone 2 is what I call the protein section. So for a lot of folks, if you go into your grocery store and you start right from the beginning and you kind of make a ring around the whole thing just on the perimeter, often after produce, you're going to be in contact with the protein section. This could be your fish, your poultry, your red meat, your eggs, your dairy, etc. This is really where you're going to find the building blocks for strength, energy, and blood sugar control are your high quality proteins. Now, in the Mediterranean diet, the focus is really on both plant-based protein sources, things like beans or lentils, as well as lots of fish and seafood, with a moderate use of poultry, eggs, dairy, and even some red meat. So some great choices are things like salmon, sardines, cod, tilapia. Then you go to have poultry options, chicken or turkey, for example. You could have eggs. Eggs are a core part of this. And then all your plant-based proteins, beans, lentils, could be even tofu. Then you could have all of the dairy sources, Greek yogurt, which is super high in protein. For those of you who tolerate dairy, there's so many varieties of cheeses. You could have feta cheese, you could have Parmesan cheese, you could have different mozzarellas, etc. Now, my thought and something you could think about, my tip for you, is to really rotate your proteins to just avoid getting really bored. Challenge yourself. Maybe you've never bought tofu in your life. Go for it. Maybe you typically buy just red kidney beans, but you've never bought black beans. Maybe you have only ever had tuna in a can and you've never bought a piece of fresh fish before. Go ahead and challenge yourself because it's going to make life and cooking and meals so much more fun. That is really how the Mediterranean families do it. They're building recipes, they're sharing recipes with each other, and they're making it lots of fun. Okay, Then you move into zone 3, which is what I like to call the pantry staples. So you can think of this if you're visualizing your own grocery store. You've entered the store, we went through our produce section, we kind of followed along the perimeter, we saw all of our different protein options, usually along the back wall. That's what a lot of grocery stores are set up like. Well, if you go then to the middle aisles, that's where you're going to have all your dried goods. So don't forget, there's so many important things you can buy in that middle section. This is where you're going to get your oils, your vinegars. So extra virgin olive oil is obviously a core part of the Mediterranean approach to eating. But it's not the only option. You can buy avocado oil, sesame oil. I've even seen things like walnut oil. Yes, even organic canola oil. If you want, technically speaking, nutritionally, it's extremely healthy for you. Then you have all your whole grains. So this can be a bulk section of the grocery store or just your dried goods. Oats, quinoa, different kinds of rice, barley, farro, amaranth, buckwheat. So many different kinds of ancient grains depending on what your grocery store has. You can really get fancy here. Then you have all your pastas and then your canned goods, beans or lentils. You can buy dried lentils. This is where you're going to find all your nuts and seeds. Don't forget about nut butters. This is also where you can find canned olives, for example, or artichoke hearts and different canned tomatoes and tomato sauces. And this is also where you're going to find teas and coffees. The Mediterranean cultures drink lots of coffee and tea, and different countries obviously have their preference for the style of coffee that they like to make, but I'll leave that one up to you. You make the kind that you like. Now, I have a little bonus tip for you. What I like to think of as a must-have, if you don't have an allergy, keeping some nuts on hand wherever you go, in your purse, your backpack, in your car, can really help you curb hunger cravings so you don't get stuck reaching for something like chips, pretzels, candy, ice cream, things that really aren't that good for our health. And the great thing about nuts is that they're actually one of the most researched foods for our heart health. And there are some clinical trials that have been done for the Mediterranean diet that specifically highlights the benefits of nuts. So they're just so versatile. They're easy to toss on a salad, onto your oatmeal, onto your yogurt bowl, or just eating them as a snack on their own. They last a long time. They're a whole form food that provides us with really healthy fats, a little bit of fiber, a little bit of protein. It's honestly a little magical food if you think about it. Now, if the idea of these 4 grocery zones is really starting to make sense, but you're still thinking, well, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how to follow all of this. I wish I had some kind of a visual to break it all down. Well, that is exactly why I created my grocery shopping guide for you. It's a free PDF downloadable document, and it's linked in the description below. Inside, it walks through each of the 4 zones that we're talking about in this video, and it gives you an example food from each category and multiple different examples. And it even includes space for you to write in your own list if you start to build your grocery shopping list for the ingredients that you and your family like to eat. Now, there's also at the end a printable summary sheet that's like a 1-pager of all 4 zones that you can either take a picture of in your phone or save the PDF in your phone or print it out if you're somebody who likes paper and bring it with you so that you don't get lost when you enter the grocery store, because it can be a very overwhelming process. There are so many different food items that they're trying to sell us. We can get very distracted, and then we often can make choices that sabotage our health progress. So don't forget, you can download your copy for free, and it's linked below this video. All right, we're ready for zone number 4, which is flavor enhancers. Now, this is really the secret sauce of the Mediterranean kitchen, quite literally. The ingredients that make your food and your meals taste literally amazing and layered with flavor without adding extra sugar, processed things like salts and oils, and without adding calories are all of these flavorful components that just elevate dishes. I'm talking about things like garlic, onion, ginger, fresh or dried herbs, any variety of spices. This could be cumin, turmeric, paprika, all kinds of peppers like black peppers, white peppers, red peppers. And then we have all of our citrus fruits, oranges, lemons, limes, and then don't forget about vinegars, fermented foods, even dark chocolate. Because these things don't just add flavor, they actually deliver powerful nutrients called antioxidants, which provide our body with an anti-inflammatory benefit, which is very important for a lot of different conditions, things like obesity, heart disease, diabetes, etc. Now, with these 4 zones, you can really start crafting your Mediterranean menu in your way. The cool thing is it's versatile. Maybe you're somebody who absolutely cannot tolerate garlic and it makes you feel sick just smelling it. Others of you are obsessed with garlic and you want to eat it for all 3 meals of the day every day. The thing is, there are really no rules that you have to eat certain foods. And this is frustrating because sometimes I hear people describe the Mediterranean diet in a way where they say you have to eat lemons and tomatoes and olive oil and zucchini. Well, you don't have to do anything. You can eat Mediterranean foods like fish, feta cheese, tomatoes, chickpeas, etc. Just because these are classical Mediterranean foods, it doesn't mean that you have to eat them to get the benefit of the Mediterranean way of eating. That's really not what it's about. It's more a lifestyle approach to incorporating whole foods, lots of plant-based foods, lots of whole form, high-quality protein sources, using lots of aromatic components, herbs, spices, oils, chili peppers, anything that's going to give a lot of dynamic flavor to your dishes. And then it's all about the balance, taking time to exercise, rest, and be social and enjoy meals with the people you love. So the next time that you walk in your grocery store, don't just wander around. Make sure you're shopping with the 4 grocery zones in mind. And then you can fill your cart with all the tools and the tricks you just learned for building better meals and overall better health. That's really what this is about. Now, remember, if you haven't gotten the message so far, I have a link below this video where you can download your free copy of my grocery shopping guide, which goes through the 4 zones and it'll make it very easy for you. It's going to give you the full breakdown, plus space for you to make your own list and have that printable summary sheet at the end. So remember, this is not about restriction. It's about you creating a kitchen and a menu that really works for you, not against you. So now I have to ask you, tell me in the comments below, what is one grocery item that you never leave the store without? I'll tell you what mine is. It's peanut butter. My husband eats it almost every single day, and I have to have it in the house at all times, or literally there's chaos. So I'd like to hear what your item is, and maybe you have more than one in your family. Let me know in the comments below because I always love reading your comments. And then when you're done, jump into more of my videos on this channel where I continue to give you tons of Mediterranean diet tips and tricks, things you don't want to miss out on. Jump into those videos and I'll see you in there.